I walked across town with the heightened instincts of a hunted man and made my way back to the shallow river that ran along the town's outskirts. It was the bleakest of gaming places, with a riverside path that threaded through blighted fields of burned grass and disused industrial units, typical showdown shoot-'em-up territory. Even now, far from the police sirens, your earring burned like a frozen pebble in my fist. As I wandered along the rubbish-strewn path, an elusive tune rose in my mind. With each footstep, the tune became clearer, until it overtook my thoughts and pressed down hard on my chest with the full weight of nostalgic regret. Shone your light into my heart, just when I needed it. You woke me with a start, just when I needed it. The song took me back to a time when everything was right between us. We were still unruly interns, and I had managed to find an apartment just 10 minutes from you in the old Italian quarter. Of course, I'd scrabbled around to find somewhere close to you. We lived among other interns, students, hackers trying to outdo the great hacker Hayes, talkers, fakers, failed coders, would-be coders, pirate coders, disillusioned dreamers, evolutionaries enthralled to helper ideals, shabby psych scientists, hacked cybods, game mercenaries and connoisseur gamers. You and I hung out, scraping by on our meagre intern credit. It felt great hanging out with you and meeting all those other people. We went to parties where no one had food, just drink and hacked psychs. One night at a party I came in and you were flopped out after game touch. The guy next to you had his visor on asleep. You gestured for me to come and sit down. You held my hand, and it was not only transgressive, but it was also wonderful. Want to game touch, you said. That would be great, I replied. I would have preferred your physical touch if that had been allowed. What's wrong? Nothing, I said. I was wondering how we'd get back tonight, I lied. He laughed. You worry too much. I did. I marvelled too at the way you grasped at life and danced all night. I was even impressed when later I found you with your head stooped over the toilet bowl. You just glared at me and said, "Leave me alone. I'm gonna heave." Some of my favourite times were with just the two of us, tired and wandering the dusky corners of the cobbled streets in the early morning, where there always seemed to be an alleyway to discover, or a new boutique or a dusty astrology shop. One time as we sauntered along, you said you wanted to know everything I was thinking. Of course, I loved telling you the little I knew, and still do. You said you could talk to me because we were both womb-borns and understood one another. One morning I arrived at your apartment, smarting from the previous night's party, and to amuse myself while I waited, I washed up. You were saving your credits. We both were. I took care of the blue tea set. Once I'd finished, I brought you up some tea. The bedroom door was defiantly open, and past the half-drawn curtains, the day blazed with birdsong, typical of a summer we'd shared, working hard to prove ourselves. I trod carefully into your room with its aroma of clay and sweat and flowers, put down your teacup and looked round at your things, hairbrush and bracelets, ceramic vase, a broken visor, my gift of the lapis lazuli earrings, heartbreakingly there, included. You were breathing quietly in bed with one hand tucked in a half fist. Looking at you asleep, I couldn't figure out how we'd become friends. I was an obvious nobody, but you kept outside of things as well, even though you were popular. Once I asked you how we'd become close friends, and you just smiled and said you liked the crap I continually talked. I didn't tell you I couldn't talk to anyone else the way I did with you. I brought myself near enough to see your earlobe hair, close enough to kiss you. I imagined you waking up and pulling me down towards you. How little I really understood. Because it cost nothing, we often walked along this self-same river path together, and because I was stood next to you, the destitute river took on a lyrical aspect, even the discarded trolleys and patches of burned grass. I didn't know it then, but this was to be our brief moment of endless time, and it felt as if nothing could spoil it. We'd talk about the mysteries of life or the best new psych play, or we'd brag how we'd turned smart upside down when we were execs, and how we'd bring down the elite. Our plans would make us scream with laughter, or else we'd nod solemnly, conspiratorially. One time, during our internship, we sat alone watching our reflections in the stale water. It was early in the evening, not quite dark, a time that unlocked things that were hard to say. "Is this okay?" I said. "Yes, it's nice." "What is it?" "Just thinking," you said. Your body had slumped and you'd become far away. It was more than the pressures of work. It was something further in than that. I pulled at the grass. I didn't know what to do. So in a desperate moment, I put my hand on your shoulder. "What about?" I waited for you to go on.